So to get started off with, we're going to create a brand new template, which will be a direct replica of this one, but we're going to give it a slightly different name. So we're going to go Template Options and create a brand new template in the local library. If you do find a template in the library which is very close to what you're after, it makes more sense to copy the template, which is effectively a save as. This saves you the time of having to go ahead and create a template from scratch and just tweak something that's already in there. But we are going to create one entirely from scratch in this particular example. We're going to give this a name. Now the name is similar, but what I've got here is a slightly different combination of numbers and letters here, as you can see. So the software will see this as a brand new template. We're going to click OK. So to get started off with, we can do this two ways. We can either complete the grid view at the top and then apply subgrade between the codes on the sections afterwards. But really the best course of action is to build this with the subgrade at the same time, and to do that we click on the Create Section button. So this is always working from the center line or the last code outwards. So whenever you click on this, you're always going to be on the edge of your template. So we're going to complete this as follows. We're going to be putting in LETW. Now the fact is that this is going to be on both sides of the center line. So the fact that we've put L there doesn't really matter. So what we might do is wipe this out, and the software will automatically put an L or an R because it's going to be both sides of the center line. The width of the section is going to be 12 foot, and the applied grade from the center line will be -2%. All we need to now do is choose whether or not we have materials being applied for the purposes of save volume. So in this case we will. We're going to be putting in 0.1 of seal. Then we're going to be applying 0.3 of pave 1. And lastly, we're going to be placing 1 foot of crush rock class 2. One final thing which generally gets missed by users is whether or not we plot the code. Now all this means is when we're looking at this particular point here found on the cross sections and cross section windows, it's whether or not this code is actually displayed with a label or not. And generally this would be the case. When we've got lots of labels very close to each other, such as the curb, then we will probably go and say yes or no in these. But yes, we will plot the code. Now as soon as we've done that, we've now got the option to go in and actually make edits to this. So everything related to the top values, slopes and distances can be edited via the grid up here. You can see the little yes no option for plotting. If we wanted to change the subgrade, all we do is we can either do one of two things. We can right click and go edit section between the two codes, or there is also the option to use this button, which is probably slightly slower, but when you click edit section you're prompted to click between two codes. By left clicking just in that spot there, we'll get the same form pop up, but you'll probably find that simply right clicking between the two codes that you want to edit, clicking edit section, is the quicker way to do this. Now we're going to go ahead and add the curb. So to do this, again, it always works from the last available code, so we're going to click on Create Curb. Now in here we're going to fill this in. Now the hover graphic is extremely useful for us in this particular example, but we'll fill it in using the following values. So the width of the first section here, the gutter section, will be 1.34, and we will be applying a vertical distance or a depth here. So we're going to say -0.125. If we can just get that quite right, -0.125. There we go. The code we're going to be using is the INV. Now the reason why I'm not putting L on here or R is because again it will be applied to both sides, meaning that the software will prefix it with L and R for me. We're then going to be putting in the top of curb, and in this case we're going to be putting 0.16. You don't have to put the 0 value in here, it just so happens that I am, but you don't need to. You can just put the point. And then we're going to be putting in the code, which is in this case TC for top of curb. The last code we're going to be putting in is for the back of curb, so we're putting in 0.5, putting in a depth of 0 because this is flat, so this section up the top here is completely flat, and then we're putting in the BC for back of curb. Lastly, we then put in some values for the depth of the curb. So in this case the curb depth will be 0.6. If we would like, this is where the hover graphics are really useful. If we want a sub-base extension behind there, we can put in 0.5. And then all we do is we simply specify the curb material, which in this case is going to be AC bottom lift, and then the layer of material of the subgrade underneath, which will be FCR class 2. Once you've completed that, we just click OK. And there we have our curb being added in. Now the one thing that we didn't do there was to actually specify the thickness of the subgrade underneath. So if you need to make an edit to your curb, all you need to do is to right click over your curb and go edit curb, or you can use edit curb, which is here, click OK, and then left click on the curb. You'll be prompted with the same form. The layer 1 thickness in here should be 0.8. Now it's important that I apply that to both sides. I don't want to apply it just to that curb. If I did, that's absolutely fine, but I'm going to apply it to both sides. Click apply and exit. Now when we created the first section, you may remember that we had the option to plot the code yes or no. Then that option isn't available with curbs because there are 3 codes. So what we have to do is manually choose which codes we want to display by using the little form at the top here. So we'll just display the back of curb on both sides only. Just simply left clicking in the preview there means that we can see that code. If we want to navigate in this particular window, we just hold down our mouse wheel to pan and we can scroll to zoom in and out. We now have another extension, which essentially is the next part is our verge or nature strip. So this doesn't actually have any subgrade. So probably just as quick to actually type in a value here. So we're going to be going to row 5 here, typing in 5 foot, and this one is at 2%. Do I want to plot the code? Yes, I would. And we'll be putting in left sidewalk inner. So this is actually going to be forming the inner part of the sidewalk walk. Now, rather than recreating that on the right hand side manually, we can do this a couple of ways. So I can right click, template options, copy to right. Yes. Now if you think about it, we could have created just the left side of the template only and then copy the entire thing to the right, but it's much quicker when you're using create section or create curb to make sure it's applied to both sides. Now we just add our sidewalk, and to do this we're going to go create section because we do have a very small amount of concrete to be putting in for the sidewalk. So we're going to be putting in a new code here, and this is going to be sidewalk outer. The width of that section will be 5 and the slope will be 1%. We'll be putting in 0.3 and we'll be picking from this particular list just simply concrete. Apply to both sides, and yes, we would like to plot the code, and then we click OK. And there is our sidewalk. And again, if we want to edit that, we can either use the grid editor at the top to change the horizontal distance and the slopes, or apply a vertical distance instead, or we can right click and use edit section to edit. The last part of this is to add the daylight, and we've got a couple of ways again that we can do this. Now the daylight is always added to the edge of your template. It's never applied within the internal parts of your template. It will always go to the end of your template. To apply this, we can either use the buttons I've found on the right hand side here. We can click left side only. No batters would mean that there are no batters applied. We'll click slope daylights, and we can put 4 for cut, for fill, and for click OK. You've also got the option of right clicking in here and going daylight right, slope daylights 4 and 4, and click OK. If you want to change those values at any point, you can obviously go in and choose the left side or right side, or use the right click to make changes. So really the aim of this is to show you how to create a template, and then what to do if you want to create using these particular buttons, if you want to edit using these particular buttons to change the actual section, and then how to apply the daylight afterwards.